Kenyans, I'm telling you, Jed, are looking at a fresh start. So if somebody is completely dented, like those, majority of those who are in Kenya Kwanza, majority of them, majority of them, I am telling you, I'll be the first one. I'll be the first one to shut the door on them. They will not come into this group. These are people who have stolen public funds. And here, these are the records. Jed, they will not sit on the table.
Can you spot a mole or
they
a
will
project?
Not,
can you spot people who have been
I have
sent?
Capacity, man.
Can you spot them?
Jed, I have capacity. I have capacity. I'm a manager. Jed, I'm a manager. I mean, it is a heap of failure. Phenomenal failure. Catastrophic. It has never been seen again. Ruto has failed. So it is Ruto who has boxed himself out of office. And unfortunately, even if Papa Francis came back, he cannot say the idea that he can do as he wishes. This is not his personal house. This is not for going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.
Great to see you. Hello there and welcome to Philip Kisia Unscripted. My name is Jadiel Kabiro. I'm so glad that you've joined us once again for this conversations, truthful conversations that we hope will help our leaders in making better political and policy decisions. I'm here with Philip Kisia, the last town clerk of Nairobi, executive director of Azimio la Umoja on Kenya Coalition. He has been in this city serving as the KICC CEO before. And what a pleasure. Great to see you. How have you been this week?
Well, Jed, you know, this week has been a solemn moment. We lost Papa, the Pope Francis, the real Pope, not the fake popes that you people have around here. Some call themselves Papa something. This one is the real one that we lost.
Talking about Papa Roma, or who are you talking about?
So, Jed, we are mourning. And we join the Catholic faith in mourning a man who lived in the past, present, but projected the future. A man who believed that you use your past experiences to build a better future. That was the Pope, a true servant leader, a man of integrity, passion, very transparent, an honest man, a very truthful person, somebody who lived a very modest life. And if there's something that those in political leadership need to appreciate, is how the Pope Francis lived his life. Simplicity. You can imagine when he went to South Sudan, I don't know if you remember, and he went down to his knees.
Oh, yeah.
What did he do?
He bowed towards someone. I think he touched his feet or something.
No, he didn't touch his feet. He kissed his feet. Kissed. That's just some fellow, I don't know, a deputy president or vice president of South Sudan, but a whole Pope, you know, going down on his knees. That shows humility. Okay? When he came to Kenya, remember, he got all of us to hold hands as a sign of what? A sign of unity. So that is a truthful man. And I'm sure I can tell you, Jed, that man is already in heaven. It is not like the sinners we have around here who are destined to hell. Those are guys who will burn like charcoal because of the sins they have committed while on earth. And you know, if you remember some of the things that Pope said, and I'll quickly look at them. Pope said that rivers don't drink their water. Is it true? It is true. Pope also said that the sun does not shine on itself. Is it true? Pope also said that the flowers don't spread the fragrance onto themselves. Is it true?
It is true.
And Pope said that living for others is a true rule of nature. We all are born to help others, to be happy. But when we make others happy, we live a better world. Therefore, Jed,
Yeah.
we are duty as human beings, not just to work hard and make ourselves happy, our families happy, but to make sure that all those who are around us are happy. So may Papa, the Pope Francis, may his soul rest in eternal peace.
All right.
I then have a small message for my son. You know, I keep on engaging the Gen Z. You know me, I have these millennials around and Gen Z. And this week, Elijah was on my case. He asked me, Dad, we as Kenya are supposed to be a developing nation. But those in leadership currently are so corrupt, they are leading a corrupt nation. And he pointed at some figure. I'll share with you that map of Africa that was showing purple. And he said, if we are not careful, we'll be worse than those countries which have a purple shade. So we need to be careful that we don't ruin this country by mismanagement, by corruption, by tribalism. Those are things that cannot help Kenya, that cannot unify Kenya, that cannot achieve Vision 2030. Those are only things that will make sure that we retrogress. And a warning shot from him, because he's a Gen Z. Yeah? I'm telling you, they are coming for us. You know what he told me?
Yes.
You better fix your mess, you people. You better fix your mess. Because if you don't fix your mess, we are coming for you. We are coming for you. And I'm telling you, Jed,
Yes.
you're one of them. You're coming for us.
We are coming for you.
So we better behave
Yeah.
and fix the mess and fix this nation and leave it a better place than we found it. Because this country was only bequeathed to us by our forefathers, who worked so hard, were people of integrity, were people of compassion. Okay? They are, you know, I mean, they were selfless. Then comes our generation, corrupt, useless idiots who have ruined this nation. And I do agree with the Gen Zs and millennials that if we do not fix it, and we only have one bullet left, not the Raila bullet, we actually have one bullet left. And that bullet is not to occupy positions of leadership, but to make sure that we indeed fix this nation.
What have you been reflecting on this week before even getting into a conversation and the highlights?
Now, Jed, I think I have three quick reflections, Jed. And one of them really made me sad. Look for that video on NTV, you know, Fixing the Nation. And, you know, and my friend Latif was actually reading a message that was crafted by Hanifa. Look for that video. Play for about 2.5, 3 minutes.
I remember seeing David Shege's mom for the first time at his funeral in Mangu, Kiambu County. I hugged her tightly, lost for words. Nothing I could say would ever match the weight of her grief. The pain of having seen her son's skull plastered on the tarmac, shot by a sniper straight to the head. That memory will never leave me. It should not. Because that's the cost that we paid for imagining a better Kenya. A Kenya where being young, brave, and unarmed didn't make you a target. I remember Eric, wounded and recovering at the Nairobi West Hospital, asking me with a tired smile, when are we going back to the streets? Wounded, smiling, relentless. I remember Eustace, 12-year-old boy, asking for time, just time, to think about what it meant to lose his right leg, to imagine a life without football, to say goodbye to a future he had always assumed would include running. And I remember Abdul Kadir at Kenyatta National Hospital, so full of life, holding my hand, telling me he would walk again, even with a bullet in his spine. He died a few days later. These are people I knew, people I loved, people whose names I whisper to myself when I see how quickly this country wants to move on, as if last year's protests were a blip and an inconvenience, not a national awakening. That was yesterday's bogey, Hanifa Adan. The protests did not fail, she says. They revealed the brutal cost of speaking truth in this country. They revealed the indifference of leadership that treats dissent as an attack. Hanifa is here. Very well written piece. Very well told story.
Sorry, I'm starting.
Yeah. It does that. I mean, I read it and it's the same thing that I felt. I was like, my goodness. Because you brought us back into that moment and you told the story of people from a first-person perspective.
Hanifa, how are you? Let me just ask that because you've done a lot of really heavy lifting, emotional heavy lifting since June, probably even before that. How are you? I know it's...
Good question. Sorry,
It's okay.
Every time someone asks that question, it's overwhelming and really draining, I would say. And it just feels unfair. Like, we lost a lot. Like, they really took.
Yeah.
That is Eric Latif from Fixing the Nation. Young people are still relentless despite.
You see, Jed, you talk about being relentless. They are tired. They are boiling. They have not healed from the sins that were committed to them for just merely holding a bottle of water and a national flag. Our children were actually sent to the Creator by bullets. That is what we did to our children on 25th of June last year. So as we come closer to celebrating the first anniversary, we owe them not just explanations, but we must tell them, we must apologize. Because I've not seen any proper apology from the Kenya Kwanza administration for overseeing the death of our children through extrajudicial means. I've not seen it happening. So, what I'm saying is, or what Hanifa is saying, is that the cost of freedom, that what these children actually endured was brutal. Brutal coming from, adults. People actually who should make ensuring that they are secure. They paid a price. They paid a heavy price. That that those who passed on, actually their hopes were dashed. They have been crushed. Some of them have been maimed. There are those who had hoped being sportsmen and women. They have now completely been disabled. Yeah, and this is killing the aspirations and the hope of our children. So the question that they're asking is, do we just move on? And if we must move on, when? How? Why? So there are questions that must be answered even as we approach the first anniversary of this children. Our national anthem talks about, may justice be our shield and defender. So that is what I'm hoping that we'll see. And apart from compensating, because out of the 10-point bullet that my party leader, Raila, and Mr. Ruto signed, one of the things that we were hoping this broad-based or now blood-based government will have done is not even to compensate, to comfort the families that lost their dear ones. Through proper messages, through proper apologies, and some form of, we cannot compensate life. Because if we make that our culture, that you can actually remove life and then you pay, you cannot pay life. But some form of comfort, we must comfort these families. Okay? So I'm hoping that before the first anniversary, something like that. But most critically, is a finance bill, 2020?
2026.
2025.
Yes.
That this finance bill that is coming will reflect the blood that was shed by our children. It must reflect. So any attempt to inflict pain to Kenyans, then of course, the consequences will be severe. And don't think that people are more charged. People are ready for any consequence. Okay? Having said that, Jed, the other one, Jed, is look for this video on my president before he assumed office or just after he had assumed office. He said he would never go to borrow, especially from China. He said he can never go, step in China to borrow. He never go with a ball, begging ball.
Yes.
He can go with another ball, maybe to give the money, but not to borrow.
Yeah.
Look for that video.
Na sisi kama serikali tutakuwa na pesa ya kuendesha serikali. Hatutakuwa tunatafuta madeni kutoka China na mahali ingine ambayo sasa inatuletea kisirani. Nyinyi mnanielewa jameni? Si kufanya biashara.
Hatutakopa Kisia.
Oh my God. What is he doing?
Serikali inakuja
What is the man doing? This is a liar. In fact, you see, Jed, where people respect social contracts, that alone should have forced Ruto to resign. Because people elected him on the basis that he will never borrow money, that he'll use his own resources, internal resources, to govern and to rule this country. But the man has become worse than his predecessor in terms of borrowing. In less than 3 years, the man is hitting over 3 trillion shillings. So if you give him another 2 years, where are we going to be? In fact, in 2 years, Jed, if the man is not checked, he will have borrowed what Uhuru borrowed in 10 years. He's approaching there. Then, Jed, let me, I took trouble to look for what this man went to do in
China.
In China.
Yeah.
Okay? And I was asking myself.
You've printed it.
Yes, I was asking myself.
Yes.
What is the job description of a president of the Republic of Kenya?
Yeah.
Okay? What is the job description? The job description of the president of the Republic of Kenya is to look at the bigger picture, is to drive the vision of this country, which we have, Vision 2030. Forget about those bottom-up, bottom-down things. Forget about that nonsense. We have Vision 2030. His job is to deliver that vision. But now you have a president who is doing the job of a governor, who is doing the job of a CS of trade and industry. Because look at these foreign direct investments. This, he should just have sent governors, for Kilifi and other governors of Machakos, and, and the CS in charge of trade, and maybe the CS in charge of foreign affairs, to sign these small little things that is exciting him and his team. Yeah? For example, Jed, when you talk of an investment of $150 million, $150 million, and that's why all these things that you never saw the president of China around these things. Because for them, these are things that are done by an undersecretary. Foreign direct investment, $20 million, over 10 years, $300 million, Kenya, $100 million, some guy who wants to come and buy our hotels, where government has shareholding, $23 million. Really? Smart traffic components for $50 million. In Kajiado, $30 million. These are private companies coming here to invest. The president must be going to negotiate for mega projects. We want to see him negotiating for big things. Okay? Okay, well enough. He said he never stepped in China to borrow. But now he has signed for 650 billion to build a railway line, an extension of the SGR. You see, Jed, what the president should be focusing is a bigger picture. Mega infrastructure projects. Mega, that will transform Kenya. Okay? SGR is one of them. I agree. The railway line running from Naivasha to Bomet, I don't know where, Kisumu, and eventually Malaba. But you're hoping that it can connect to Uganda and DRC and so on and so forth. We are looking for that, mega projects. We are looking for mega manufacturing projects. The president should leave these small little things of buying hotels for $23 million to even somebody like Jed. Don't even send a principal secretary. Ask them to come here. Ask them to come here.
Because they're the ones buying.
Ask them to come to Kenya. But we have a president who must be involved in everything. Tomorrow he'll even be involved in buying of groundnuts. I mean, this is ridiculous. But that's the president we have. And you see, they normally say what is yours is? It's yours. There's nothing you can do. The man is our president for the time being. The other, Jed, the third reflection I have is, and you know this one is very painful reading. I read it several times. The statement by Duan Chow, the president of Vietnam Gas. Oh my God, the man really gassed us, man. Oh my God. Boy, oh boy. The guy really hit us with a slap. Like little children. You know, the man was diplomatic. But if you are an intelligent person, even
you can read through it.
With modest intelligence, you would have said, man, you would have called the guy and said, man, you didn't have to do this to me. Do you know what I'm a father? Do you know I'm a grandfather? Do you know I'm a president? You didn't have to do this to me. The man said that he met the president, he met the prime cabinet secretary, and they had a discussion. But the man is saying that they talk big, there's no action, there's no follow-up, and they're just talking hot air. There's nothing. You see, that the conversation they had, you know, just big talk, okay? That, you know, they were talking about manufacturing, I don't know, infrastructure projects,
electricity,
about investment and what have you. And the man is saying, look here. Vietnam, which was a very poor nation, just the other day, poorer than Kenya, they have 100 million, okay, population. Electricity being generated is what? 70 GW. 70. Kenya, we have half the population, which is 50 million. We have 4 GW. 4. Can you imagine? And you are asking them to come and invest in manufacturing, where lights even flicker. You can't even light houses. Leave alone powering plants. Because power, electricity, is a basic commodity to drive industry, to drive manufacturing. And we don't have it. 100 million, 70 GW. 50 million, 4 GW. And you are sitting with them having tea at Mandazi State House and asking them to come and invest. Invest where? In which environment? In a failed environment? They will not come. Actually, they look at you and wonder whether you have gone cuckoos, whether there's something really wrong in your mind. Tourism. And I normally say that tourism is the only import that generates foreign currency. These people come here. We are blessed with good natural resources, good parks, good coastal lines, good climate, good people, good everything. Jed. And the man is saying that 9 o'clock, after 9 p.m. there's no activity. And what you're calling markets, you're only selling souvenirs. Go to Singapore, go to Thailand, It's a 24-hour economy. Can you go to a CBD here even after 6? Can you? No. Jed, in our CBD,
yes.
Can you dare go there after 6? So what tourism are we talking about? What tourism are we talking about? What are we supporting? We're talking about tourism.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and what rewards do we have for people who come to invest? Be them local investors or foreign investors. Here, in fact, the man said, listen, instead of rewards, what I'm smelling is bribes. That's what the guy said. He said, I can smell bribes, not rewards. So you expect me to come and the man was saying, listen, I want to deal with people who have a long-term view, a vision,
yes,
long-term vision, not short-term. In my own interpretation, Jed, what the guy was saying, I don't want to come and deal with people who be asking for bribes. That's what the man is saying. Short-term gains. What does he mean by short-term gains?
Do you think this is the thinking of
what
investors who want to invest in Kenya? Do you think this is a general perception?
Of course, Jed, of course. What do you think?
General perception.
What do you think? It is not it is a perception that you come here because this man is saying we don't take a long-term view, we're not futuristic, we're not visionary, we just want short-term gains. Short-term gains is actually, what am I going to get from this thing now? That's a bribe. So, I mean, Jed, it is so unfortunate. But the man ended up by saying, listen, the problem is not that you don't have the resources. The problem is that you don't have the talent. Kenyans are talented. The problem is you have the mic.
Yeah.
And you're saying, switch off that bloody mic. Switch it off. Switch on power. So that you can power plants. You can promote, industry.
Yeah.
Because that's a very serious component for industrialization. You can't say you want to industrialize. You industrialize with what? With firewood? Jed, can you do that?
Talk to me about some of the weekly highlights that you've seen this week before we talk about focus on the loyal opposition that you are in.
Well, Jed, this one was troubling. I want you to play very quickly. There are 2 videos. Actually, maybe 3. Just take a snapshot of each. The one, actually, both were in Parliament, Honorable Malim and Honorable Junet. I don't know that they're still honorable because people think that being honorable is when you're in Parliament. No, Jed. Honorable means that you're a person of honor.
Oh.
So even if you're in Parliament and you're a person of dishonor, that you are corrupt, that you are a thief, that you mismanage the economy, that you've killed people, you cannot be a honorable person. You are dishonorable. But look for those 3 videos. And then the other one, the Tana River governor. Look for that one. There are 3 short ones.
Yes.
The DRC has suffered more than 6 million people dead. That problem started with the Banyamulenge, if you remember very well, when Mobutu Sese Seko said, you are not Zairwa, you are not Congolese. Go to Rwanda because you look like the Tutsis of Rwanda. And they went to war. And that war is still going on right now. The M23 you're hearing about is as a result of the problem that started that time. 100,000 people who are discriminated can destroy a nation of 60 million. Wapare don't have any other country. Let them be given their citizenship. Let's protect our country and our nationals. Because nobody is going to accept to be discriminated against. Natembea belongs somewhere else. It does not belong to Kenya, by the way. And his ideas are crooked. Awacha akimbia malingine. Atoke hapa.
Mayaka, 1 minute.
Speaker, I am shocked. I am shocked when I saw a governor in this country in this Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker, shouting at the top of his voice from somewhere in Mount Elgon or somewhere there in Trans Nzoia, saying some Kenyans should not be given the identity cards, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I came to realize the training of a person is very important in life. And the way I'm getting trained in this house, Mr. Speaker, is what has made me serve the people. Mr. Speaker, some of the people who have gone through the provincial administration, who have served in that region of northern Kenya, Mr. Speaker.
I started training you when you were a councillor.
Kabisa, Mr. Speaker, yes. In Malakisi. You took me to Malakisi
yes.
in 2005 so that I can interact with the public, you remember. Yes. Mr. Speaker, a whole governor stands in his place addressing a gathering of Kenyans saying that other Kenyans must be discriminated against. Mr. Speaker, I know the governor was a former PC or a former DC, and I know the culture that goes on when you are especially posted to northern Kenya, where you have to be paid for you to give somebody's identity card. And that's how some of them have made their money, Mr. Speaker. That is a colonial mentality. That man does not deserve to lead anybody in Kenya, Mr. Speaker. It is very, very heartening, Mr. Speaker. Disheartening. He does not even be a village elder, Mr. Speaker. When you can come openly and say that certain Kenyans should not be given an ID because they are bordering another country. Even him is running a county that is bordering Uganda. Shame on him. Shame on him. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I know that community is discriminating against live in Trans Nzoia, Mr. Speaker. And you know you are their leader, Mr. Speaker. You come from there also. I can assure you they will never vote for him again.
Tatizo la vitambulisho, hawa hawana shida ya Wakenya kupewa vitambulisho. Hawana shida. Na tunampongeza rais kwa kusema Mkenya asidhulumike. Hiyo sawa. Lakini hapa Tana River hii kuna mtiririko. Sio peke yake ya Wasomali kutoka Wajia na Garissa ambao wanakuja kutugonganisha hapa, lakini kuna mtiririko wa Somali kutoka Somalia. Mheshimiwa, nielewe hapa. Unasikia wanapiga makofi. Mtiririko wa Somali kutoka Somalia. Na ajabu ni kwamba wakifika Tana River hii, sijaiona mahali pengine, wanatumia ujanja gani hatujui. Wanapewa location hapo hapo. Inakatwa location ya watu wa Tana River, inapewa location mtu ya Somalia. Alafu muda mfupi anapewa chief. Huyo chief ndio wewe unamwamrisha, unamwambia aharakishe mambo ya ID. Huyo sasa mwenye anatoka Somalia, wewe sasa unamwamrisha. Hujui ya kwamba hapa kuna machifu wa Somalia wako. Huyo sasa ndio anaenda sasa kupanga mipango ya kuandikisha watu wengine wa Somalia. Ndio shida ya hawa wananchi, na huo ndio msukosuko uko Tana River hii. Msukosuko wa ardhi ni hiyo. Msukosuko wa usalama ni hiyo. Na haisemwi hapa. Maombi yangu, na tulikuwa tumeomba sote kama viongozi, zile location zote ambazo ziko kwa faili ya huyu, tulisema zifutiliwe mbali hizo location. Hao machifu bandia wafutiliwe mbali. Vitambulisho feki walivyopewa ichunguzwe, vifutiliwe mbali. Na wao wapeleke kwa refugee camp. Wapeleke kwa refugee camp. Tunaelewa Somalia iko na msukosuko. Ni ndugu zetu wale watu wa Somalia. Hatutaki sisi wapate shida. Laiti mimi ningekuwa na uwezo ya kwenda kuweka amani kule ningeiweka. Lakini tunajua wewe unajaribu, mawaziri wetu wamejaribu.
These are our leaders. Listening to Farah, listening to Janet.
You know, Jed, I've tried to at least train you, to educate you.
Yes.
You don't call them leaders. Because one, they don't have any quality of leadership. Those are just persons in parliament. Okay?
These are our persons.
These are just persons in parliament. You're calling them leaders. What leaders are you talking about?
Okay.
You need to go back to school, Jed.
These are our persons.
But you can be coming here, give you a lecture 1 hour every day for free.
Management.
Management and leadership and governance. Because I mean, you're disappointing
What
me.
is
Listen,
your thinking about this?
Jed, first of all, Honorable or Dishonorable Malim, who used to be my friend, is threatening an elected leader by the people of Trans Nzoia, and I'm one of them. This is a man who just the other day was threatening to end lives of 5,000 Gen Zs. You remember?
Yes.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
Where does he even get the courage to talk? I think people are not normal in Kenya. We are not normal. Where does he get the courage to talk about integrity, to talk about anything good? When he talked about ending lives of 5,000 Gen Zs daily. Who gives him the authority? And even who told him that because he's in parliament, he can talk about chasing other people from this republic who are Kenyans? Where does he get, where? What constitution is he using? In fact, if there are people who are completely off tune, offline, people who live in the past, people who live not even the Kanwera, people who are keg, backward, these are the guys who are backward. You see, Junet on the other side, his job is to do what? To oversight the government, to budget, to represent, and to legislate.
Yes.
That is the job of Junet, and he's the minority leader in parliament. That is, he should getting his troops to do what? To ensure that the government is put under check.
Yeah.
But because there's this thing called broad-based or bread-based or blood-based, whatever it is, they are finding it convenient to talk on issues that are not very relevant. I'm not saying, even for 1 minute, that any Kenyan, I underline the word Kenyan, should be discriminated. Any Kenyan, be it white, black, blue, whatever. No Kenyan should be discriminated. But what are these people saying? I think we need to put into context what these people are saying, Jed, that yes, we must put in measures to make sure that anybody, underlining anybody, who is not a Kenyan, should not have the privileges that Kenyans have. It is in the Constitution. What is Trump doing, President Trump?
Yeah.
What is he doing? He's saying, you came here through the back door. You are not an American. You must go back to where you came from. It is happening even in the most developed nation in the world. They are saying we can't have you because you are not an American. Okay? So if Trump is cleaning America, cleaning a system, who are we to open floodgates? I am not for a minute, Jed, saying that any person who is a Kenyan should be denied services.
Yes.
No. But I'm also saying that if we just open our doors wide open,
yes,
we'll be worse than a commercial sex worker. Anybody and anything can come through. That is the effect, Jed. So we need to be careful. We must be very, very intentional when you're doing these things. And you know, the people who are talking are not just riffraffs. I don't know some of the backgrounds of those people who are talking.
Yeah.
I don't know their backgrounds. I've not checked. But Natembeya is elected by the people of Trans Nzoia. Very smart people. The food basket of this country. We cannot be stupid to have elected Natembeya. The people of Tana River. And Natembeya has been in a provincial administration. He knows what he's talking about. The governor of this place, Tana River, Godana or somebody, okay? He's not stupid. He's been in the military. So if you put those two heads together, there must be something they've seen that these fellows who are in the broad-based government are not seeing. Or they are seeing, but they have decided to close their eyes and ears. Okay? So let us be careful. And let us not allow people, because of the privileges they have in parliament, to attack those who cannot defend themselves. Because of, you know, that privilege they have. parliamentary privilege. And who told them they are honorable? They are dishonorable because we know what happens in the toilets. They have told us they collect brown envelopes. They are dishonorable.
Let's get into our conversation for today. We're talking about the loyal opposition. Dr. Fred Matiang'i, former Interior CS, came back to the country and he has reignited politics in this country. My conversation today with Philip Kisia is all about these figures in the opposition. Can they form an alternative for Kenyans, not just to react to what Ruto is doing, not just to remove Ruto, but are they the real alternative that Kenyans are looking for? I'm here with Kisia. Kisia, look, battle lines have been drawn in 2027. We're still looking at what is happening, but what symbol of unity, or how can the opposition show itself as a symbol of unity, and also what concrete strategies can they put together so that Kenyans can say, these are the people now that will form the next government and we can trust?
Jed,
yeah,
2027 is already decided. And it is not fortunate, it's not unfortunate, but that what it is.
Decided.
Kenyans have decided. They have said anything else other than William Samoei Ruto. Anything else. So even if we put you there, but you don't qualify, you're not 35. You have everything else, but you don't have 35. You must be 35 and above.
35.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you're not.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not because you don't, But anyway, Ruto has made himself a one-term president because of the promises he made, the social contract he signed, the failures that are so abundant. I mean, it is a heap of failure. Phenomenal failure. Catastrophic. It has never been seen again. Ruto has failed. So it is Ruto who has boxed himself out of office. And unfortunately, even if Papa Francis came back, he cannot save him. He can't. Okay? So what do we need? I'm telling you, what the opposition needs is one touch. There's that phrase that says, yours for the asking. You've heard it, yours for the asking.
Yes, yes.
So Kenyans have so many alternatives, but they're still wondering which one. Which one do we take? Okay? Because 2027 would not be about triviality. It will be about issue. Because you're dealing with 70% of a population that is issue-based oriented. Tribeless, leaderless, and everything less. Corruption less, So they are just yearning for positive change. They just want somebody who will come and fix this country positively. So the people in the opposition, have their work cut out. Most of us in that age bracket, we must live this, like Elijah said, fix this country before you leave. And it's one touch, one term. Fix it or we fix you. So getting back to your question, Jed.
With regards to strategies.
The strategy. And moving away from these symbolic meetings that we're having,
yes,
which are necessary for planning purposes and strategizing. The opposition must present a unified group, unified front. The coalition must be seen to be unified. The coalition must be seen to be structured, not like this other one that we have, the Kenya Kwisha coalition, that is very unstructured. That is a one-man show. Kenyans want to see a team singing from one hymn. Kenyans want to see a team that is credible. A credible team that has capacity, that is competent, that is not corrupt, that is not corruptible, that can deliver. Kenyans want to see a group that will move this country from planlessness to a plan. And in this case, Vision 2030 is about to end. Kenyans are asking, do we have this team that can start preparing now, not tomorrow, even before they get into government? Vision 2060. Where is that vision? Show us, present that vision to us. The other things that they need to do, which are also strategic, Jed, this IEBC thing, because if you're not careful, and they let it slide, it can be the undoing. So they must make sure that we have a properly constituted IBC that will manage the election. And you heard the other day my friend Major retired James Oswago saying that there are about 7 ways of rigging. So Oswago has made their work easy.
Yeah.
If I am going actually to recommend that we get Oswago on our team to make sure that any chances of rigging are completely eliminated. The second thing in preparing for election, we must make sure that we have a manifesto, okay, that captures the aspirations of our people and present it to these youthful voters. Present it to them. We must capture their imagination. We must make sure that, 70% of that manifesto addresses the issues that have been raised by the Gen Z and millennials. Okay? So we must consult these people. Once that is done, it will be easy to make sure that the 10 million votes that are out there, Gen Z and Alpha, the 10 million votes that we have, that they register and they vote for what they have been talking about. But for them to do that, they are praying and they are looking forward to being presented with an alternative government, with an alternative vision. So where is Vision 2060? That is the question that we're asking. That captures the imagination and aspirations of this youth who are in their teens, who are in their early 20s, who are in their early 30s. Because those who are in their 30s, by the time we complete this Vision 2060, they'll be grandfathers and grandmothers. So we must present a vision that gives them hope, that inspires them. Hope and inspiration.
Then with figures in the opposition like Fred Matiang'i, who has been accused of constitutional overreach, Gachagua accused of corruption, how can they show Kenyans that they are not just representing the old order of how things are, but they are actually true agents of change? And in the same context, how can they deal with this baggage? Matiang'i has a lot of baggage that Kenyans are posting online. How can they do that?
You see, first of all, I think it's, I can say maybe perception, maybe accusation, maybe propaganda. Because if indeed Matiang'i is what they're saying, I am not here to defend Matiang'i. But if it is what he's saying, he committed crime, the first person to have arrested Matiang'i would have been William Ruto. This administration is very vengeful. Very vengeful. They would have by now arraigned Matiang'i, who will by now would have been cooling in industrial area or somewhere. Somewhere in a police station. But the fact that he has come, and he came openly, and he came during the day, and nothing has happened, it means that those probable accusations, and if indeed they are true, then action needs to be taken. You are talking about corruption. And I know the former Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, was accused by the Kenya Kwanza. Oh, corruption this, corruption that. How come he has not been arraigned? When did he leave office?
Last year.
How many months?
About 5, 6 now.
6. How come he has not been arraigned in any court of law? How come? Because they're saying they had evidence of corruption, of misdeed. How come he has not been arraigned in any court? So again, that was a strategy just to push out Rigathi. But I'm not here to talk about the two gentlemen. I'm here to talk about a team that Kenyans are looking at. Kenyans are looking at, and probably the two gentlemen, and any the person who present himself, must take a deep reflection of themselves, must do a personal audit, then audited by a team, and because that person you're presenting will undergo a lot of scrutiny by the Kenyans. So if you surround yourself by the wrong people, you know you're actually presenting yourself for failure. So self-reflection, self-audit, before you even your peers audit you, and you tell you know what, boy, you are not suitable for this particular job because of A, B, C, D. Okay? And even in getting people to work in this team, the loyal opposition, I'm hoping that we'll be taking people's views, the voters' views, the Gen Z's views, you know, because they're saying we want to see a team that reflects honesty. We want to see a team that is full of integrity, that is not corrupt, that is competent. So I know that those are the discussions that are going on, because we must be open to each other and say, you know what, maybe, first of all, even before you need to be considered, you must not only repent, reflect and repent. Ask for forgiveness. Kenyans are very forgiving. Ask for, say, I did ABCD. Maybe if it is not beyond limits, maybe Kenyans will forgive you. But, and then of course, make certain commitments that you are going to be accountable, you are going to be transparent, you are going to work for Kenyans, you are going to show servant leadership. So acknowledging the past mistakes and making certain commitments going forward, I think will really help, because Kenyans, I'm telling you, Jed, are looking at a fresh start. So if somebody is completely dented, like those majority of those who are in Kenya Kwanza, majority of them, majority of them, I am telling you, I'll be the first one. I'll be the first one to shut the door on them. They will not come into this group. The new group, because I know what Kenyans are saying.
There's a project.
Jed, I know.
Kenyans
Jed, I am the prefect.
There's a mole.
Jed, I am the prefect. I will deal with them. Jed, I am the prefect. And I'm telling you, they will not sit on the table. Those people who Kenyans have already told us that these are murderers. These are people who have committed heinous crimes, crimes against humanity. These are people who have stolen public funds. And here, these are the records. Jed, they will not sit on the table.
Can you spot a mole or
they
a
will
project?
Not.
Can you spot people who have been
sent?
I have
capacity, man.
Can you spot them?
Jed, I have capacity. I have capacity. I'm a manager. Jed, I'm a manager. And have capacity.
To spot them.
To spot, smell, and chase them away.
You know, there's a lot of skeptical thinking amongst the youth. There's a lot of discontent, yes. But how can the opposition look at this youth and unify them to support one person? Is that possible, especially now that everyone is thinking, who's that right person to be supporting? Well,
there are many things that can be done, but very quickly. You know, earlier I talked about crafting a message. That is youth-centric, that addresses matters of the youth. Okay? That must be the first thing on the table. Okay? That the manifesto we are coming up with will address the things in a very honest and deliberate way. The issues to do with jobs. Our boys are jobless, and yet they are so highly qualified that we will not be taking them to do cookery jobs, not even chef, you know, to clean toilets in Dubai, and you say these are jobs. That if we are exporting labor, it will be serious labor exporting to earn serious dollars. We want our people to go there and earn $100,000. Then we're exporting labor, $30,000, $40,000. Okay? But since we don't have enough labor here, we must retain as much as we can to industrialize, to make sure that this country moves. The other day, Ruto said, you know, we are better than Tanzania and Uganda. You know, this man, Jed, you know, this is a government of launching, a launching government, because what is launching and a goofing leadership, a launching government and a goofing leadership. They're always goofing. Useless guy. So anyway, the other thing that we must do is that you know, the youth need to be mobilized, energized, organized. They're already organized, but help them. Bring them on board. Their voices must be on the table. The youth, There is nothing like saying, I've heard the Kenya Kwanza fellow saying that, youth need to be guided. The people who need to be guided are these characters who have ruined this nation.
Yeah.
They need a lot of guidance. Actually, I don't know. People say they cannot even be guided. People say they're not even listening. So I from where I'm sitting, because I engage the youth, I can tell you, Jed, the youth globally, because they think the same. They are global youth. Their thinking is global. They are well informed. They know what needs to be done. They know how to do it. They only need to be supported and to be given an opportunity, genuine opportunity.
Yeah.
Not being sent to Middle East and other places to be watchmen. And the Minister for Labor is here telling us that he has created jobs. And most of them are fake jobs. You've seen?
Yeah.
Our youth paying money, they sell their small little shambas to go to Middle East and to go to other places, and those jobs don't even exist. Why is the Minister for Labor not talking about those jobs now? It was a hot potato, a very hot matter.
Yeah.
But now, it has cooled like what? It is cool like? Cool like? Come on, Jed.
Let's talk about, finally, the anger that Kenyans have. There's a lot of frustration, yes, about the economy, taxes, a lot of political rifts that are happening. Talk to me about two things. One, how can the opposition target this and how can the opposition get a weakness in this and get votes from it? And is this frustration enough to get Ruto out? Because this is what Prof. Manyora argues, anger is not enough. People were angry with Moi, but Moi still stayed 10 years after multipartyism. What should happen with the opposition to actually make Kenyans vote against Ruto?
Prof is my senior, so I don't want to disagree with him. But we live in different times. And the environment keeps on changing. And maybe I need to, although he's a professor, I need to take him for a class.
Yeah.
It's called Environmental Turbulence and Response to Change. That environment keeps on changing. And the changes are so rapid that if you don't keep up with the changes, you'll be wiped out. So you cannot compare the operating environment Moi operated in and the operating environment Kibaki and then Uhuru. At 10 years, actually 10 years in an environment, in fact, even of 10. Nowadays, we used to do a 25-year strategic plan, and then we give a cycle 5. Nowadays, some farms are even doing a review, 2 years, planning 15, with about 3 years review. Every 3 years, we are reviewing, and because the changes happening are so rapid. So, back to your question, Jed. Removing Ruto is as easy as A, B, C. I am telling you, Jed, if there's someone you can replace by a blink of the eye, is one William Samoei Ruto. Let me tell you this. Just look at the economy. Do you have jobs? Do you have jobs?
No.
Yet he promised jobs. He promised to reduce taxes. Did he reduce the taxes or he has increased the taxes? And that's why even the Gen Z fought and died. Did he increase or reduce?
Increase.
He promised to set up industries, manufacturing, and what have you. Have they been set?
Not yet.
He promised to build so many houses, 250,000 houses every year. By the time he does 5 years, I doubt whether they'll have delivered even 30,000 houses. Way below his own target, way below his own personal target. Because the target was not set by Kenyans. The target was set by William Ruto. Who has he managed the economy properly? Has he managed our affairs properly? Yes or no?
No.
Has he surrounded himself with competent leadership? Is his leadership inclusive or is it just tribal? That getting people from your backyard to occupy half of government. Now, Jed, you don't need to look far. The failure, the list is from north to south, from east to west. The failures are all over. The weaknesses are all over. You just need to pick a few, and we know them. pick a few, and come up with viable solutions. And that's why I talked about doing what? Because by the time he's leaving office, I think Vision 2030 will be having about 2 or 3 years to, to end his life. We must be talking about another shared vision that will take this country to 2026.
Yeah.
Corruption, there are so many weaknesses. Lack of rule of law, disobeying court orders. And the Gen Z nowadays, these are people who prefer working with people, leadership that respects the rule of law, that respects the Constitution. We are being led by somebody who has no regard for the Constitution, for the rule of law. That's why the court orders are disobeyed and disregarded. So the list of failure. You actually need a child who has not been born to list them down.
So you're saying the environment now is different. Ruto you have mentioned his failures. So you're saying to unseat him is as easy as
ABC. To get rid of him?
Yeah.
As easy as ABC. And most unfortunate thing is that people are saying, we would rather anything else, bring anything else. Like you Murima, sometimes I hear you people, you Murima, interesting, you say, even if you present a dog, we'll vote for that dog. Kenyans have got to that stage of saying, it's not Kenyans, it's not Philip Kisia.
It's Philip Kisia.
We would rather, even if you present what? Hata nyoka, tutapigia nyoka kura.
Finally, last week you finished with saying a storm is coming for anyone who's not in the loyal opposition. What is your message to them?
Oh no, you see, first of all, we are not just going to open the gates. Wananchi have already sent us a warning shot that we need clean people, that we need competent people, that we need honest people, that we need people who will drive the next vision, Vision 2060. Okay? So, I am telling you, the storm, you can see already people are running away. People are jumping from those little, last week I talked about people running away from those little boats. Jumping into the ship that is going to sail us, that is going to take us to Vision 2060. You saw what Linturi has done. Where was Linturi?
Yes.
You saw what my old friend, Marco Maore.
Yes.
Where was he? You're saying, never again. You saw just the other day, the former minister from Meru,
Peter Munya.
Peter Munya. What has Munya said? This man is a liar. We have not spoken. Yes. He's a liar. We have not spoken. Linturi said, the man is the biggest liar of the century. I have not spoken to this man since December last year. So when did you speak? So if you can even lie about speaking to adults, you are lying, and they are not dead. They will come and deny. Jed, I mean, this is the lowest that we have ever gone to.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation about the loyal opposition with Philip Kisia, saying unseating Ruto is as easy as ABC. Just as always, closing remarks as we are heading to the weekend.
Jed, look for that. This is one of my favorite, and you guys must be proud of the current leaders from Africa. Faye, Traore, and Doma, and the rest. But look for that video. Ibrahim Traore, is opening. I think it's a coconut or a peanut factory or something.
Yeah.
Captain Ibrahim Traore has done it again, this time with cashews. Burkina Faso just launched a massive cashew processing plant. And it's not your average nutcracker setup. This factory is putting 20,000 people to work. Yes, you heard that right. 20,000 jobs from one plant. While some leaders give speeches, Traore is handing out employment. His message is clear. No more lost generations. No more exporting raw goods for peanuts. Africa is done just consuming. It's time to manufacture, process, and lead. One factory at a time, Traore is turning dreams into assembly lines. More of this, please. And pass the cashews while you're at it.
You talk about commissioning and not launching. This is what Traore is doing.
Yes. Traore is basically saying, listen, action speaks louder than words. Period. That's what he's saying. I don't have to be on the mic all the time. It's a waste of time. Let my actions speak for me. So my advice to the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, switch off the mic. Get down to work. Your work will speak for you. Because what you've delivered can be felt, can be seen. But what you speak is easily forgotten. Okay? What you speak is not engraved in anything. But what you do and can be seen and can be felt is engraved in people's hearts. So please, Mr. President, action speaks louder than words. Get to work, Mr. President.
Thanks for tuning into that conversation with Philip Kisia. Have yourself a lovely weekend. I do hope you'll be with us next week. Share this video with as many people as possible. It's about the loyal opposition. Action speaks louder than words.
What gives him the idea that he can do as he wishes? This is not his personal house. This is not for going. I think the president needs to stop being simplistic.
Is there a vacuum post Raila?
Play one clip where Ruto has spoken truthfully.